share a story with us?
Yeah. And what topic?
Ooh, let's share a story of um let's go relationships.
Okay. So here's a vulnerable story that I haven't told on any media platform ever. And I told the guy that I'm dating now, his name's Dan. We're in a relationship, and I told him at some point I have to tell this story. But so when I so I'm a pretty, put together person, especially under stress. And this is the first person that I had been excited about in a really long time, like a really long time. And I've been divorced for 9 years, and I've done a lot of work. Like my marriage ended because my ex-husband had a sexual addiction that started in childhood. He was exposed to some things. So it wasn't my fault when I found out about things and decided to end the marriage. But I also asked myself, was I a good wife? And the
Mm.
answer I came back with is there's some room for improvement. And I started doing the work, started doing the relationship work and figuring out what does a good wife look like. I realized the mix of masculine, feminine energy and going into the softness when I need to and letting I've done all this work, I've practiced, and I'm like, this year is my year. I am so ready, Sabrina. Um, we had a week build up before I met him, and it just on both sides, you can just see how excited we were getting. And I could not wait to meet this man. I pulled into his community and I told the gate attendant what I don't know what the right word is for what he does, but I said, I'm here to see so and so. And he said, okay. And he goes to let me in, and the arms open. I don't know what happened. I think I blacked out because the arm I think came back down, and that's when I decided to drive. I drove right through the gate. Like the arm thing, I drove right through it. And I was like, I've never in my life done anything even close to this. And now I do it like I'm ready. I like this is not the time to do this. And so I drive up and I park my car and I drive over to this gate attendant and I was like, I need to, I'm really sorry about that. I need to take care of that. And he looks at the list and he goes, oh, you're here to see Mr. Donovan. He goes, it's fine. I'll just call Mr. Donovan. And I'm like, that's exactly what we don't want to do today. Is there, I haven't even met the man in person. And I just blew through the gate, and I'm like, oh my, I cannot even believe this is happening. And so I go over and I'm talking to him, and now I can see there's cameras everywhere. I can see my car where I parked. I can see where I was. I can see myself right now. And I'm looking at this guy who I've totally freaked out because I brought this type of energy. And I have all these credit cards, and I'm like, do you want the red one? Do you want the blue one? I'm like, here's 100, like whatever I need to do. Could you please not call Mr. Donovan and tell him? So I had to show up. He opened the door, and I was like, did they call him already? Did they, I had to make sure, first of all, that I didn't hit anything else on the way to his house because I was like, I don't know what just happened. It could happen again. And the interesting thing is I had worked so hard on whatever I was dealing with, kind of coming from like this really stressed corporate world, like shutting all that off and being able to show up in my feminine flow. And he's like, I really was 1% present for the first 3 hours because I'm thinking about that moment, and he never felt any of it. So
Wow.
yeah, it's a funny story now.
When did you finally tell him?
Oh, I had to tell him right away. So it was like I
Okay.
walked in and I told him because I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna like, did they call him already?" And so he kind of laughed, and the way he laughed made me laugh too. But I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, are we? Is this even going to continue?" And I will tell you because I'm a girl of my pride. Like my ego is still there, and she showed herself that day. And I thought if I didn't like this guy, I would have just done a U-turn and left. Like I flew through the gate. I like it fell off, which I think they just pop off, but maybe that's the story I told myself.